I want to live in the States, but I don't know what my options are. So, what are your options to apply for the green card? Hello, I'm Helen Mukarzel Bushroush, a business and immigration attorney. In this video, I will explain the main categories of green cards. I will focus on family, employment, and asylum options. At the end of this video, you should be able to pre-screen your options before you contact your attorney and see if you meet the conditions for each path. Let's start with family-based immigration. Under family-based immigration, you have to differentiate between the relatives of a US citizen and the relatives of a lawful permanent resident. And you need to differentiate also between immediate relatives and other relatives. You may be eligible to apply as an immediate relative of a US citizen if you are the spouse of a US citizen, the unmarried child under the age of 21 of a US citizen, or the parent of a US citizen who is at least 21 years old. You may be eligible to apply as another relative of a US citizen under the family-based preference categories if you are a family member of a US citizen, meaning you are either the unmarried son or daughter of a US citizen and you are 21 years old or older, the married son or daughter of a US citizen, or the brother or sister of a US citizen who is at least 21 years old. You may be eligible to apply as a relative of a lawful permanent resident if you are a family member of a lawful permanent resident, meaning you are the spouse of a lawful permanent resident, the unmarried child under the age of 21 of a lawful permanent resident, or the unmarried son or daughter of a lawful permanent resident and you are 21 years old or older. Now, what about fiancés of US citizens? You may be eligible to apply as a fiancé of a US citizen or the fiancé's child if you are a person admitted to the US as a fiancé of US citizen. This is the K-1 non-immigrant visa, or a person admitted to the US as the child of a fiancé of a US citizen, and that's the K-2 non-immigrant visa. There is also a path for the widow or widower of a US citizen. You may be eligible to apply as a widow or widower of a US citizen if you were married to your US citizen spouse at the time your spouse died. Plus, you may be eligible to apply as a VAWA, self-petitioner, if you are an abused spouse of a US citizen or lawful permanent resident, an abused child, unmarried and under 21 years old, of a US citizen or lawful permanent resident, or an abused parent of a US citizen. So under the family category, there are options where you need the sponsorship of a US citizen or green card holder, and other options where you can self-sponsor yourself and take the path to your green card. Now let's talk about green card through employment. Employment in immigration is a large term. It includes paths that require a job offer and others that don't. So if you feel you meet some of the criteria I will talk about, reach out to an attorney to further assess your case even if you don't have a job offer lined up. You may be eligible to apply as an immigrant worker if you are a first preference immigrant worker, what we call EB1, meaning you have extraordinary ability in the arts, science, education, business, or athletics, or you are an outstanding professor or researcher, or you are a multinational manager or executive who meets certain criteria. You can also apply as an immigrant worker if you are a second preference immigrant worker, meaning you are a member of a profession that requires an advanced degree, or you don't have an advanced degree but have exceptional ability in the fields of sciences, arts, or business. Also, if you are seeking a national interest waiver, you might fall under this category. In the EB1 and EB2 categories, you may be able to sponsor yourself without the need for a US sponsor. You can also apply as an immigrant worker if you are a third preference immigrant worker, meaning you are a skilled worker, so your job requires a minimum of 2 years training or work experience. And if you are a professional, meaning your job requires at least a US bachelor's degree or a foreign equivalent, and you are a member of the profession. Or if you are an unskilled worker, meaning you will perform unskilled labor that requires less than 2 years of training or experience. So this green card category is available to you, whatever your level of education or expertise is, should you meet its conditions. Also, you may be eligible to apply as a physician national interest waiver if you are a physician who agrees to work full-time in a clinical practice in a designated underserved area for a set period of time and meet the eligibility requirements. Also, under the employment-based immigration, you may be eligible to apply as an immigrant investor if you have invested or are actively in the process of investing at least $1,050,000 or $800,000 in a targeted employment area or infrastructure project in a new commercial enterprise in the United States. You need to create full-time positions for at least 10 qualifying employees to be eligible under this category. Now for the green card through refugee or asylee status. If you are an asylee, so you were granted asylum status for at least 1 year, you are eligible to apply for the green card. And if you were admitted as a refugee at least 1 year ago, you are also eligible to apply for a green card. The main difference between these two statuses is that the first can be applied for from within the US only, whereas the second is applied for from outside the United States and has other UNHCR and other agencies' recommendations required. These are the most common different options that you have to apply for the green card. Each of these options has its own set of conditions for eligibility and applications. If you think you might fall under one of these categories, contact Boost Law Firm through the link below. If you want more details about one of the categories, comment the category in the comment box and subscribe to the channel so you are notified when I make a video about it. And remember to share this video with someone who might find it helpful. Until then, stay safe and follow your dream.